don't think I have it.
Have what?
Nope.
It's a beautiful view of your hand, Jim.
Never mind.
It's okay. The mayor was singing and dancing a minute ago, so.
I'll be so glad when we get back in person.
Is there such a thing?
I don't think, I mean, it's gonna be a while.
But Jim, just think of the bright side. You can join the meetings from Michigan.
I know.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't matter where you are, but
No.
we'll be back to meetings. This
I'm gonna
COVID thing's
be-
not.
I'm going to be Zooming in our planning commission next Monday night as I'm driving home from Pennsylvania.
That's
That doesn't
exciting.
sound safe.
Where are
Yeah.
you driving home from, Dale?
Laurel Valley.
Oh,
Just gotta pretend like I know where that is.
It's the home of Arnie Palmer.
Really?
Yeah.
Hi, Tim. Hi, Nancy.
Hi.
Tim, I don't know if it matters to you, but we cannot see your eyes.
I want to see
There
that
we go.
fishing rod that he's got up on the wall.
What the heck? Did I move?
That you're good. You're good now. I just felt like you should at least have eyes. I don't know.
you look like one of those things with the black line across their faces so you couldn't identify them. Our engineer, currently unindicted.
Hello, Darren.
Hello, Aaron.
One,
Blow this guy up a little bit.
Angie and Jan are not joining us tonight.
So we're just missing Darren, rather.
No, Darren. We are missing Mr. Bloom. Oh, there he is. Speak
There
of
we
the
go.
devil.
Just got on.
And
Oh, there's Darren.
and I didn't hear from the fire chief, so I assume he will also be joining us.
I think Jim Finley might be
Fun.
taking his place. I thought he said something about that when I saw him. I'm not sure.
Well, now it's on YouTube. We're waiting.
Oops.
Who knows how to sing and dance?
The mayor.
Definitely not me.
And Dale just moved to outer space.
I felt like it was appropriate tonight.
You know, maybe you should do the theme from 2001: A Space Odyssey with that behind you, Dale.
I don't think I could sing that.
Or maybe we should just start calling you Hal.
Right.
Christy, are we all good when at 7 to call to order?
Yeah, I got 7 now.
Oh,
I do too.
It changed just after I said that.
Oh, I was talking to myself because I was muted. Just give me a heads up so I can record first. And
Okay.
then absolutely.
We're ready to go. So
Oh, right now?
yeah, it's 7.
Oh.
Andy and Jan are going to be on tonight.
Okay. I had time is 6:57, but if your time is that, I will. Press record. Ready to go.
Okay, I call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Today is Monday, September 14th, and this is a regular meeting of the Chagrin Falls Village Council. As we get started tonight, thank you for joining us. As you are aware, we're on Zoom, so if we lose anybody during the meeting, we will pause until we resume contact with our council members. And we will take comments from the public during the traditional public comment period at the end of the meeting. That said, tonight we have Boy Scout Troop 150 from Federated Church joining us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
So I am Charles Zimmerman, Senior Patrol Leader of Troop 150, affiliated with the Federated Church. Today we'll be saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise for the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance. Hand over heart if not in uniform. Scout salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2.
Sorry, my muted button didn't want to switch. Mr. Bloom, can you please do the roll call?
Sure. DiBernardo, Evans, Grube,
Here.
Newell,
Here.
Rocky,
Here.
Rogoff,
Here.
Wyval,
Here.
Mrs. Evans was under the weather tonight and Ms. DiBernardo had a family emergency. Could I please have a motion to excuse them from tonight's meeting?
I so moved.
Oh, second.
Motion by Rogoff, second by Newell. Roll call, please.
Grube,
Aye.
Newell,
Aye.
Rocky,
Aye.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Wyval.
Okay, approval of the minutes. Did everybody receive a copy of the minutes for August 24th? Any changes? Seeing none, can I please have a motion to approve the minutes for August 24th, 2020?
I move to approve the minutes from August 4th, 2020.
Motion by Rogoff, second by Darren. Mr. Wyval?
Aye.
Okay, roll call, please.
Grube,
Aye.
Newell,
Aye.
Rocky,
Aye.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Wyval.
Okay. Report of the mayor.
Thank you. I have a report tonight. After several meetings of no report, I'm going to make up for it. I've got 3 items. One, as you know, the Grove Hill property has transferred to the village, and part of that transfer agreement is that we would appoint a committee made up of 2 village residents and 2 land conservancy residents. And so tonight I'd like to appoint those positions. And for the village, I would like to appoint Nancy Rogoff and Chantil Mikhalik, thank you, from the Save Grove Hill Committee in Summit Street. And from the Land Conservancy, Rich Cochran, the president of the Western Reserve Land Conservancy, and Alec Kakan, is that correct?
I just have that enunciation.
Yeah,
Alex.
he's the senior vice president for conservation transactions, and I would ask that council ratify those appointments.
I motion to ratify the appointments of the Save Grove Hill
Hold on, can
Committee.
we get just a brief overview of what the point of the committee is, just for anybody listening?
Just to oversight of the development plans and to make recommendations to the Parks Commission that in turn will come back to council. They have no real decision-making authority on their own. It'll just be to make recommendations to the Park Commission and to council as to how that parcel will be developed. That's really a formality.
Thank you for that.
Okay,
We-
no problem.
So.
We all, in your motion, you would only be the appointees for the village. The Conservancy makes their own appointments.
Correct. Thank you, Dale.
So I motion to approve the mayor's appointment of Nancy Rogoff and Chantel Mahalik to the Save Grove Hill Committee. Nope, Grove Hill Park Committee. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys.
Second.
Motion by group, second by Rocky. Roll call, please.
Newell,
Aye.
Rocky,
Aye.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Wyval.
Aye.
Grube,
Aye.
The next item is the garage sale, and the village is not going to be sponsoring a village-wide garage sale this year due to the COVID, but anyone wishing to have their own garage sale is certainly welcome to do so. And we would waive the permit requirement for this year for having your own garage sale. And I would ask council for a motion of support on the waiving of the enforcement of the 1-year enforcement of the permit on a garage sale.
You don't mean 1 year.
Right.
It's just for the one event.
For the,
Yeah, that's what I said for the one. Oh, I see what you mean for annual. Okay, yeah, you're correct, Dale. Thank you. I was thinking of the annual garage sale and not
Right.
the correct use of the English language there, but thank you
what
for
are the
catching
actual
that.
dates for the garage sale?
Pardon me?
What are the actual dates for the garage?
Well,
sale?
they had been the last weekend in September, Rocky.
Okay.
September 26th and 27th, or 25th, 26th, 27th.
27?
Yeah. So anybody that wants to have a garage sale is of course welcome to do so, but I didn't think it advisable for the village to sponsor anything this year.
And by sponsor, we're really talking about promoting it and encouraging
Correct.
large scale gathering in, a time of pandemic. So
Would you still want the resident to contact the police department if they plan on having the garage sale, or it's just up to the individual?
I would say it would be up to the individual.
Okay.
For that weekend, just, if you want to have it, you're welcome to have it, but we're not doing anything official.
I'd like to make a motion that anybody that wants to have a garage sale this September, there will be a waiver of any or all fees that would normally apply, and it's up to the individual to coordinate it themselves.
Yes. Yes.
You need to say in the motion, it's a waiver of any permit requirement and any fee.
Okay, a waiver of any permit requirement for this year, which normally would happen then in the month of September. There is no permit required by the village.
for the whole month or just the weekend of September 26th?
I guess if you want to do it September 26th, the last weekend of September.
25th, 26th, and 27th?
Okay.
And no fee.
Yeah,
Correct.
I think he said that. Do we have a second to the motion?
Second.
A second by Rocky. Roll call, please.
Rocky,
Aye.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Wyval. Wyval,
Wyval may be muted.
you might be muted.
Aye.
Grube,
Now we're,
Aye.
Newell.
Aye.
Okay, and lastly, just an announcement, due to the increasingly frequent and very heavy rainfalls, the rainfall we got on Labor Day was just short of 4 inches of rain, which is nearly 10% of an entire year's rainfall in one 8-hour period. We've established a stormwater problem reporting site on the village website where individuals can report stormwater problems they have to the village. Those reports will be downloaded into a format that we'll be sharing with council as they're reported to us and summarized. Hopefully there won't be another rainfall like that in quite some time, but I just wanted to get that word out for y'all to know that we've done that, and hopefully the papers will pick that up and report it.
Yeah, I think it's a great addition to the website that homeowners can go on there directly, report the information, include any photos.
Correct.
I mean, we really
and-
need that information.
Yeah, Christie did that, and it automatically downloads into a Excel spreadsheet. So we'll be able to keep track and identify the real hotspot problem areas.
Excellent idea. Excellent.
Anything else, Mr. Mayor?
No, that's it. That concludes my report.
Report of the Finance Director, Mr. Bloom.
I did have one quick item. At the last council meeting, we talked about getting remote deposit hardware installed for the utilities department. So we would not have to take checks to the bank every day over in Solon. And we're getting close to ordering that. We should have that up and running probably within 2 weeks through PNC.
Does that impact any other departments that take checks regularly or just
No, it's,
water?
it'll only be for PNC Bank, which is only our utilities department.
And what's the cost to the village for
The,
implementing this?
the machinery, the hardware itself is around $500. We haven't chosen which machine we're gonna buy yet. We'll do that probably tomorrow. And then there's about a $1,000 a year maintenance fee for the account.
The objective in doing this, Rocky, is to get a photocopy of every check.
Right.
Without
Oh, yeah.
this software, Katie would have to hand copy 3,000 checks when they come in. So
The-
it's actually efficient.
So we have a $500 to $600 upfront fee, but $1,000 a year is cheaper than we probably pay Katie to take the checks to the bank.
Exactly.
So-
Yeah, and,
Right.
and it will also give us better control. But Dave, we're also looking into one for Key, are we not, for
We're looking-
the building
We'll look
department?
into that as soon as we get this one up and running, right?
Okay.
Okay,
Correct.
very
For the
good.
building
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Okay. And any other questions on the check scanning then? No, okay. Mr. Bloom, any other things to report?
No, I have nothing more.
We had no members of the public, correct?
Correct, we do not.
Report of the law director, Mr. Markowitz.
Thank you. Well, we've got a lot of ordinances tonight. The first one is ordinance number 2020-36, an ordinance to create definitions for dangerous and vicious dogs and to regulate the keeping of such dogs within the village of Chagrin Falls and amending section 505.01 of the codified ordinances and declaring an emergency.
Okay, Mr. Rocky, this comes through you and safety.
Yeah, this is the second reading for this. We're gonna be leaving it on readings tonight until the next meeting where we're hoping to vote on it. Does anybody have any questions as it sits at the moment? Any ideas, any thoughts?
And we talked a little bit last week. I feel like it's a nice, well-balanced piece of legislation that gives the police department some tools they need to help residents when situations start to escalate.
Yeah,
and
it
provide some
definitely
transparency.
does. And it's really only targeting the, dangerous dogs that bite other dogs or people. This isn't dealing with dogs that get out, occasionally escape, you leave the door open, dog gets out. It's not dealing with any of that kind of incident. It was only if your dog attacks another pet or a human being. So
Andrew, just out of curiosity, any resolution or help with those two instances of those two dogs down on Cottage and up on Coy? Or is that Orchard, I think, up on Coy?
Those two cases have been resolved.
Great.
And just to touch on what Councilman Rocky was saying about dogs at large, that part of it isn't really changing. The section's changing somewhat, but we already have an ordinance that says if your dog is running loose, that's a crime. So it's just keeping that same language. Again, the police officers obviously use a lot of discretion when it comes to that, so.
Who's making the dog noise?
I heard that.
I thought that was cued in, Amber.
That was to go out.
I want to say that the chief put in a lot of time and worked really hard to get this thing done right. I think we're going to be very happy with this legislation.
I mean, she ran away, but really it's a phenomenal piece. You did a
Yeah.
good job, Amber. Or Chief.
Agreed.
I had to let the dog out. Thank you.
Who let the dog out? So you're going to keep it on second reading. I'll move on to resolution number 2020-37, a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission outside 10 mil amount and rate, and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county fiscal officer.
If you've ever been to a council meeting with me, you know that I love the esoteric legislation we pass every year for taxes. It's just really like fantastic. So this document is a very complicated way of saying that the village charges 8.3 mils taxes against our property taxes onto our property tax bill would be a better way to say that. Of that, the inside mill basically means it's not voted on, it's done by the state. So we have 2.5 mils into our general fund and 0.3 into the police pension. And that money just goes straight into the police pension. It's not something we sort of have our own account for. And the outside mill means we voted on it. And we have 5.5 mils there and they go into our general fund. So overall, this means that the village gets about 8.1% of your property taxes. The rest of that property tax that you pay is going to the school district and various county agencies and organizations, libraries, Tri-C, et cetera. So that's a really long way of saying these are the taxes we're going to ask the county to put on the tax bill because this is what we're authorized to do. Any questions?
There isn't a change. This isn't a change to the tax
No
rate.
change.
There's no change.
No, we actually had the streetscape fell off in collection year 2018. So our taxes went down by 0.6 mil that year, which resulted in a whopping $21 per $100,000 evaluation. I've got more information. We can talk about that.
I'm impressed.
But it was interesting because the mayor, Dave and I had a couple conversations, and in 2000, the village took about 15% of the tax bill, and now we're taking 8.1. So, I mean, we're running a really good village. All our village services are really coming in here. And I have it somewhere. I don't know where I wrote it down.
15% to 8.1% over a 20-year period.
Yes.
And the same services are being provided by the village.
Correct.
Yeah.
Very nice job, everybody.
Does that, I read that, to that statistic today about the difference between 15 and 8%. Does that shortfall, does that go into, does that just go away, or does that go to the schools and the county?
It goes to schools. It's a combination, Darren, of our reducing taxes about 3 mils and keeping the overall tax rate flat on the property taxes, and the fact that the county taxes and the school taxes have gone up. That's what it's a reflection of.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. And the distinction between the outside and inside millage that Aaron mentioned before is outside millage, the dollar amount stays constant as the valuations of property goes up.
Okay.
So as your property goes up in value, it does not automatically raise your taxes.
Okay, any questions on this? Did we leave anything to chance? Okay, I would move to approve resolution 2020-37.
Second.
Motion by Group, second by Newell. Roll call, please.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Rube,
Aye.
Newell,
Aye.
Rocky.
Aye.
Okay, next item is ordinance number 2020-38, an ordinance to create a procedure and jurisdiction for administrative appeals for aggrieved persons in the provisions of Part 13 Building Code and declaring an emergency. It's on first read tonight, but we're hoping you'll pass it tonight because we have a Board of Zoning Appeals meeting tomorrow night that would be considering variances to the building code if this gets adopted. This is a kind of a gap that we had. Probably about 2/3 of the building code provided for appeals to the Board of Zoning Appeals and about 1/3 did not. And it just so happens that the appeal that's pending for tomorrow night, those two sections would not be within the jurisdiction of the Board of Zoning Appeals without passing this new ordinance. So we've made it global. We've provided that any building code section can be appealed now to the Board of Zoning Appeals, and we set up standards for them to use.
Mrs.
And
Rogoff,
those
anything else?
standards are the standards.
Hold on. Mrs. Rogoff, anything else to add to that intro before we go into questions?
So the Facilities Committee met on this ordinance and discussed it and agreed unanimously that council should adopt. We recommended that council adopt this ordinance. Also, we recommended that council adopt it as an emergency so that it can go into effect for tomorrow night's BZA meeting.
Okay, Mr. Recky, you had a question.
And so the factors are the A through D that are laid out in section 3.2, correct?
Let me pull that up.
The variance isn't self-created.
That's in section 3.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Correct.
And we have different standards because when it deals with like an area type variance, we're using similar to what you know as the Duncan standards. But when it's for other types of appeals, we tried to come up with something that was sort of like a use variance where it's a tougher standard, but you couldn't exactly use that.
Any questions? Other questions, I should say?
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for 3 readings for this ordinance.
Motion to suspend from Newell,
Second,
second by Rogoff. Roll call, please.
Wyval? Wyval?
He's
Aye.
probably muted.
Aye.
Grube?
Aye.
Newell?
Aye.
Rocky?
Aye.
Rogoff?
aye,
We have a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Motion by Newell,
Second.
second by Rogoff. Roll call, please.
Grube?
Aye.
Newell?
Aye.
Rocky?
Aye.
Rogoff?
aye,
Wyval?
Wyval likes a mute.
I think his microphone doesn't pick him up if he's too far away from his computer.
He's on mute, it shows.
He's also not at his computer, so.
We'll give him a second to return before we go on to the next item.
I think he's making a technology adjustment.
Here we go.
Okay. Mr. Markowitz.
Did you get all 5 yeses?
I thought we did.
We're still waiting on Darren.
That's what I thought.
Oh,
Oh.
Darren, we need you to vote.
Need to vote Wyval?
Given I had to go discipline some kids, sorry. No one knows what that's like.
Minor
Okay,
details.
thank you for getting that passed. The next item is ordinance number 2020-39, an ordinance amending ordinances 2020-20 and 2020-35 to extend the moratorium not to enforce planning and zoning code sections 1137.05 parens A parens 1 and 1138.05 parens A parens 2 in front, side, and rear yards through December 31, 2020, and declaring an emergency.
So this actually expired last Tuesday, and it's to extend it through the end of the year so people can continue the outdoor dining while we have the limited interior capacities. That's literally the only change, is that we're going from September 8th to December 31st. And I feel like personally, it's kind of an important thing to do for these businesses. Yeah, and we can figure out where we go after December. But
Seems to be working pretty well for most of them. I mean, within the limitations. And does this roll everything into now one ordinance, or are we still going to be stuck with the 2 separate ordinances?
It's one ordinance.
Okay, that'll clean it up.
Rob, go ahead.
I did receive requests from both Aurelia as well as M Italian to extend this allowance for them. They said that the outdoor dining expansion has greatly helped them through the times that we're in now. My office has not received any complaints about either location or any of the other outdoor dining in the village. So I think this would be a positive move.
But thank you, Rob.
Any questions, commentary? Seeing none, we would need a motion to suspend the rules.
So moved.
Second,
Motion by Noel, second by Rogoff. Roll call, please.
Newell,
Aye.
Rocky,
Aye.
Rogoff,
aye.
Michael.
Aye.
Group,
Aye.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Newell, second by Rocky. Roll call, please.
Rocky,
Aye.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Michael.
Aye.
Group,
Aye.
Newell,
Aye.
Okay, thank you. The next one is ordinance number 2020-40, an ordinance amending the rules and regulations for cemeteries in the village of Chagrin Falls and amending codified ordinance sections 953.031 parens Z and parens L and declaring an emergency.
Okay, this is creating a pricing structure for the new cemetery columbarium that we are expecting to arrive. At this point, it's looking like November. It sort of depends on when a full truck is available to ship from our supplier. So we had to make a couple adjustments just to the layout so that people could tell the difference in the pricing between the existing columbarium, which is located towards the historic storage building at the cemetery, the north side, if you will, and where the new section of columbariums are going to be, which is towards the south side. It's in what we call the fireman's circle. Eventually, the space will be built out with about 5 columbariums. So the pricing structure was based on what we're seeing other cemeteries charging. We are still towards the lower end, especially when you look at commercial, commercial like non-municipal cemeteries, I guess is probably the way to say it. Sounds more humane. So to be in the, and this is also one of the few places in our cemetery where non-residents can be buried. And so that's why we have a difference in pricing between non-residents and residents. Each columbarium niche can fit 2 urns in it. And that is the major change. We did double check the cost of burials and things like that, and our current fee for burials more it covers our labor costs, so we're set there. So it's really just about pricing of the new columbarium. And the pricing is also designed to pay for the next columbarium structure so that it's not actually a capital outlay for the village. It's money that's already been paid into by families as they've chosen this is their final resting spot. Questions? Conversation?
So when you say that it's pays for the next one, is the money actually set aside in a special fund for that?
We can do that, Nancy.
I think it's something the finance committee definitely wants to look at. So the previous columbarium paid for this one. It's all sort of in that general fund, but we could do a separate earmarked committee or fund. Committee.
Actually, I believe, and Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, all the cemetery funds go to the general fund. And what we were doing when we established by ordinance that perpetual care fund, we were taking a portion of that. We can also take a portion of the columbarium sales and allocate that to a special account where we're accumulating the money to buy the next one. So it doesn't have to come out of general fund operations in the future.
Agree. I think we should, I think the finance committee should take a look at that and come back with a proposal for how we should,
That's fine.
separate those dollars. Because we want to build that perpetual care up again. Wow, I gave you a good sales pitch. No one's got questions.
You did a nice job.
It's going to be a lovely gray granite. It's going to be shed water nicely and okay. Since nobody has any questions, could I please motion to approve ordinance 2020-40?
Well, you need to waive readings.
Oh,
Yeah.
darn it. I motion to suspend the rules for ordinance 2020-40.
Second.
Roll call, motion by group, second by Noel. Roll call, please.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Michael.
Aye.
Group,
Aye.
Newell,
Aye.
Rocky,
Aye.
And a motion to adopt ordinance 2020-40.
Second.
Motion by group, second by Noel. Roll call, please.
Wyval? Rube?
Aye.
Newell?
Aye.
Rocky?
Aye.
Rogoff?
Aye.
That's all I have.
I was looking at the word emergency too when I did that. Sorry. Okay, council committee reports. Administration and compensation.
Nothing to report this evening.
Board of Zoning Appeals.
We have a meeting tomorrow night at 7:30.
The Cemetery Commission, we just had tonight's legislation. Facilities and Services.
We had tonight's legislation, and we need to schedule a committee meeting to talk about the parks, permits and rules for the parks. I don't know if I'll send out an email
Perfect.
and we'll get some suggestions.
Okay. Finance Committee, we will meet in the later half of September. And we will do our normal thing and then go through some of the stuff with the Cemetery Commission or cemetery dollars. Parking Commission.
No report tonight.
Parks.
Parks Commission is meeting October Wednesday, the first Wednesday in October.
Jim, is he expressing an opinion on the
Yeah.
the dog ordinance we just had discussed, or?
He's saying, how much longer is this meeting going to be?
Seems like an out of control dog.
Okay, Planning Commission or Planning and Zoning Commission.
Planning and Zoning meets Monday, next Monday, September 21st at 7 o'clock. We have we have Brick House and Soul Leather. It'll be a long meeting.
Safety Committee.
We have no report, but we are going to be having a meeting shortly to discuss potentially looking at a vaping ordinance.
Okay. And then Utilities.
No report tonight.
Jim, such a long report. Report of the Chief Administrative Officer.
I have no report tonight, Madam President.
Report of the Engineer.
Just brief update on construction. The Washington Street project they're moving down the hill into the next phase. So that's between Philomethian and Main Street. They still have some pavement repairs left to do in the section up the hill between Philomethian and Cleveland. And then with the road program, the underground work is just about done and they should start milling this week in preparation for the final paving of the streets in the program.
Okay, how long, what's the difference in time between when we when we mill the streets until we pave them?
Probably about a week because we'll mill and then do some base repairs. So we probably won't see paving this week, but it's possible. And then that'll be followed. It's 2 courses of asphalt once it's ready.
And then do we have more underground work that's going to happen in front of the high school like we saw today?
There's probably a couple things left, but it's probably 95% complete at this point.
I feel like it's been really helpful to get the updates. Parents have really appreciated being able to see those. The only thing I would offer is that we may want the flaggers to start a little bit earlier than 7:45. A lot of the traffic seems to start arriving at the high school a little bit after 7, like 7:10 to 7:30 is what I'm told is the highest arrival time for the high school. So we had a few hiccups this morning when the flagger wasn't there as everyone was coming in and going out. I just want to make sure the workers stay safe and the young drivers stay safe. It's not really an ideal scenario, but they are moving so quickly. I'm really impressed with how quickly they've moved down that hill.
I'll pass the comment.
Tim, I'd also like to say Ludia's periodic reports to us are very helpful. Saves phone calls, saves questions, and I found her informative, useful.
Yeah, agree.
Yep, I agree. That's very helpful. And now that things are rolling, it seems like everybody's they've gotten in a routine sort of in how they proceed.
Yeah, I mean, it's very disruptive, and if you're caught in traffic, it's annoying. But I mean, it's 2 months for a improvement's going to last 50 to 75 years. And at the end of the day, you're going to have a brand new road surface and hopefully a lot of sewage and water problems solved. So.
Right. So
And then-
The only thing I have to say is if we do something again on East Washington Street, we should include how to get to the post office in the like in any information we send out, because I stand on that corner on Philomathian for a crossing guard and I get 100 people who ask, how do I get to the post office? So just for
People say
future
it's not doing
reference.
well.
it is, it's difficult with the lateral work, since the sanitary sewer is in the middle of the road. Once they work on that, both sides of the road are closed. So it's,
Yeah.
even if they're only working on one lane, just the pavement cut itself reduces the pavement down to less than a lane. So at any given day, that basically closes the pavement in that section. So
Yeah, and I would
It is a
point
mess.
out for everyone, Tim, as you move into this final stage, you're going to have to be cutting across the road for every house on the south. This is probably going to be the most intensive cuts for the water line that we've encountered.
right.
As we do those cuts, you know, I have been hearing from parents, especially of intermediate school students, who are concerned about safety as kids walk up the hill to school. We have a heavy population, especially at the intermediate school, who walk. So anything we can do to tell kids before they get halfway up the street which side of the sidewalk they should be
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, that would be a good idea, Aaron. And perhaps we've got a crossing guard down there at Main Street.
Yeah, let them
Maybe
know.
that's the ideal place to tell them.
Because we've been, I mean, the whole point about safe routes is like, we don't want kids jaywalking. Like, we want to keep them on sidewalks, into safe crossings. We're trying to teach them good habits. So if we create construction, then ask them to cross mid-block without a crosswalk, it sort of like undoes all this like habit forming work that the community's been doing.
Yeah,
So
no,
anything we can do-
I agree. And from the BP station to the post office, there's going to be a cut at every house.
Right. So I don't know if we can put signs that just push, I mean, will the northern side of the sidewalk be cut, or will that side be intact the whole time?
No, the northern side will not be affected. So not be cut. It'll be affected by the lateral putting in the clean out, but not for the water. That was
Yeah,
connected when we put in the main.
I mean, even if we do it on, even if we email I mean, I've got the list and so does Angie. We can email out the crossing guards the night before, the ones that stand on that corner, a recommendation if we have it for this portion, because I think that would be, you know, it's two groups. It's going to be it's going to be the 8 a.m. and the 11 a.m.
Yeah, most of the walkers are going to come that morning because they're village versus. the
Right, but it's up and then back down at 11:10.
Right. But they'll still be using the north side of the street, Rocky.
So Tim, can you
Yeah.
confirm with us, should we have all kids being pushed? Should we push all walkers to the north? Can we do sidewalk signs on sidewalks? There was just some confusion, especially around the intermediate school age kids, when we had cuts up on the high school block, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, well, we can ask the contractor to concentrate on one side of the road and stick to it. It's not as efficient, you know, if they work their way down the hill, basically, they'll be bouncing from back and forth as they work down, basically, in order. To stay on one side, they'd be going, they'd be skipping the houses on the other side of the street and have to come back and then work their way back down. So, I mean, it could be a little more confusing, but it would be, I mean, for traffic other than the pedestrians, but it would be more consistent with this, which sidewalk was open. So we can ask them to try to be more consistent, and maybe on a weekly basis of trying to keep one sidewalk open more consistently.
Yeah, something to just help put people's minds at ease, since we have kids walking through construction, which.
Yeah. Well, it's one thing to be walking through construction on a day like today. It's another one on a second day of a rain where they're walking through a mud hole is quite another. And, you know, that's what my biggest concern is.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you hearing us out on those concerns, because I've gotten a few calls. Okay, anything else, Tim?
That's all.
Report of the police chief.
So two quick things. I mentioned, I think 2 council meetings ago, a new program that we're putting out. Actually, Lisa and Christy got it loaded onto our webpage last week. So it's up and ready. It's called Frontline. So the program offers 4 modules to the public: overnight parking, vacation watch, bike management, and pet management. So people can go on and enter their own information. This is all stuff we were already doing, but it streamlines it. Somebody can do it right from their house. And it's real user friendly. In fact, I was just kind of playing around with the pet management and the bike management. It even will allow you to upload a photo of your bike or your dog. So we're hoping that people start utilizing this. Obviously, especially with the pet management, the bike management, that really helps us find people when we do have those dogs that get loose, or, you know, if we have a bike go missing and we find it in the weeds somewhere, or somebody forgets where they put it. So again, that's up and running. I give all the credit to Lisa as far as working with the company to get it set up for us specifically. And then her and Christy, obviously, there it is. So on the village website, Christy just put it up on the screen. Under police department, which is right under announcements, if you just click on those links, it'll take you right to the front page of it. So it's actually very user friendly, I have found.
And it's also very efficient because it doesn't require calling the police taking the time, writing it down, but it's all automatic. And I think the pet and the bike registration particularly are things that people should all use. You've got kids with bikes or adults with bikes for that matter, and pets, because they do tend to escape every now and then.
I think it's a fantastic addition.
Yeah, it's going to be a good system for us.
And we want people to go ahead and like pre-register their pet or their bike. This isn't
Correct, Rocky.
It's gone missing.
No, that's absolutely correct. You'd register your dog now. So if it went missing a year or 2 years from now, it'd be ready in the system.
Right. Any questions about that program?
I think it's excellent. Good job.
Good. Thank you. And then the last thing I wanted to say, and I don't see the fire chief on here, so I'll speak on both of our behalfs. But I just want to thank Molly Gebler and the Chamber of Commerce, all the businesses in Chagrin who are recognizing first responders this week. Needless to say, it's been a rough year for us for a variety of reasons. And I always tell people how lucky I am to work in the community I do because of the support we get from not only the residents here, but also the businesses. So huge thank you to everybody who dropped off goodies for the officers throughout the week. It really meant a lot to us, and it does make a difference for morale. And so we appreciate it.
Well, thank you for the great job.
And Amber, we appreciate everything you do and the fire and EMS does for the village too. It really takes a team, and I believe we all are a team. So again, we don't just recognize you for a week. We recognize you all year.
Well, we appreciate it. And like I said, I'll pass that along to the guys, but it means a lot to them too. So thank you very much.
I would say report of the fire chief. Oh, do you have anything else, Amber? Do you want
No, that's my report.
the obligatory, please lock your cars?
Yes, actually, we actually had another. So the one thing I can say about that is that it seems to be the weekends, especially Sunday night into Monday morning. Again, I don't want to say people should only focus on that night because obviously it can happen other nights, but the weekends seem to be the time. So yes, reminder to lock your doors and take the keys out.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Since we don't have a fire chief with us today. Oh, Rob, report of the fire chief.
I spoke to Chief Zugan, and he's not able to attend tonight, and he had no report.
We will forgive him for that. Do we have any members of the public who would like to speak to any matter? If we do, I have a little intro to share with everybody.
I do not recognize members of the public raising their hand via the Zoom platform.
Okay, well then. We are going to play a little bit with our miscellaneous items. Mr. Hunt and Ms. Brudno from the school district will be joining us at some point. They also had a presentation at 7:30 with the music lovers. So I think they're going to be here in a minute. So we're going to move to our second miscellaneous topic. And that is the question of lighting of the Chagrin Falls waterfall. It was brought to Rob's attention by a business owner that they would like to see the waterfalls lit. But before we get into the question of should a business owner or should a business be lighting the waterfalls, I think the first question is, does council have any interest in having the waterfalls lit, just in general concepts, rather than discussing the letter that was written to us by the business owner?
I'll go first and say that I'm pro lighting the waterfall. I think it adds to the aesthetic of the village. I think that it gives us one of those, things that's different than everybody else, and it really does accent, the falls, which is a huge attraction for us. And as we get into the seasons, the fall and the spring, where the weather's getting nice, but the days are getting shorter, it does illuminate us and create, a little bit more of an inviting outdoor space. So I do really like the idea.
Okay. Friends, anyone else? Other thoughts?
Well, I think the idea is something we need to discuss. Before I get excited about it, I would like to see what the options are, what the costs are, what the maintenance is. But also, I'd like to see if there's a way we could get more feedback from the residents. I know that a lot of us talk about transparency, and then we have these meetings and nobody shows up. But I would like to just have us talk about some ideas of how we can get this out to the residents, because it's not just a shop owner, restaurant, business type of decision. I think it's a community-wide decision.
Agree. I love public meetings, so yes, I'm all about the Leslie Knope address of this. Darren, can you lean a little bit closer to your mic? It seems to only pick you up when you're close.
Does anyone, just in the past, have we had any other merchants, I think about the popcorn shop and folks like that, suggest or ask for lighting to be, it's not an after hours place, so to speak. I know this one came from a restaurant tour, but has anyone else ever inquired as to lighting on falls that anyone's aware of?
I know the GCs have looked into it before. I couldn't tell you what the decision factors against them doing it were.
I'll get that information and send it around.
We've allowed the documentary film fest for a brief period of time, days, to light the falls during the film fest, but that's the only thing that I'm aware of.
And I always think it looks really cool when they do it. So.
And I'm not aware of any other requests, Madam President.
So, I guess where I'm at is I agree with both Andrew and Jim. I think that it's an intriguing idea. I think there's some opportunities in terms of driving tourism and supporting our downtown merchants through, increasing the visibility. But I think as a community endeavor, we can appropriately adjust the lights so that they're downward and they're not creating more uplighting than we want. We can control how bright they are in a different sort of dialed in way with modern LEDs that, I think there's, I think the value of a community doing it is that all the interests can be sort of weighed in a different way than a single entity doing it. So I personally would like to see us look at it, chat about it a little bit, see if it's really even feasible, and then, take the conversation one step at a time.
I think it'll be heavily influenced by the type of lighting, and I think you might need some professional advice in terms of the type of lightings that could be available, Aaron, so people can react to a specific as opposed to a generality, and then you're into, I didn't know it was that color, I didn't know it was that bright, I didn't know it was that angle. So I think you need some real specificity before you can get people to react to it.
Yeah, we also are going to have to consider the safety aspect of it, because there is a bridge right above, the river, and we don't want blinding lights in driver's eyes. So there's kind of that safety aspect that we do have to consider.
So Aaron, are you suggesting maybe that we take ownership as a village of the lighting the process rather than having and I understand why, if I don't want to answer your question for you, but as opposed to like one single business owner and the expense of it.
I kind of think we should. I think we could work. I mean, you know, I don't know. I think we need to look into what that would look like. I think we need to understand that first before we sort of, you know, pass it on to somebody else. But because right now, a business person or a property owner, you have to keep your lights like on your own property. You can't like use floodlights and light up your neighbor's whole front yard. Like that's not allowed. So someone doing this independently means they're basically turning their light the opposite way of where it should be focused. So I think we need to hold and balance also the fact that we have a zoning code about lights that keeps them onto the property versus literally somewhere else. But you know, we need to be mindful because I don't know if there's residences above Starbucks, but you know, we just need to balance it all.
Well, and also, Aaron, there's questions, you know, primary viewing area from the falls at night has always been from the top on the bridge. And you don't want light shining in people's eyes on the bridge like it was an interrogation light. So that's what I was getting at when I said you may need some professional advice as to how that could be obtained.
Oh, I mean, definitely. And there are definitely outdoor lighting companies that will handle this type of installation. And, you know, like a pole mounted type unit that shines down versus, I mean, you've got the benefit of the hillside on both sides. So some sort of pole mounted that's going to shine down and cast onto the falls instead of, you know, up at an angle where, so you still get the beneficial of the top down view without blinding everybody.
Okay, agree. Okay, so
I think it's a good beginning to a discussion.
yeah, yeah, we'll get some more information and then circle back.
Yeah, how do we go about, you know, maybe looking into or trying to discuss with somebody who has some expertise in how this will be done?
I mean, so I think that, I mean, we could go a couple of ways. I think probably we may need to do an RFP for this, considering, you know, we want to make sure we do it correctly in terms of making sure it's open to the community. I don't think we're ready for an RFP though either. So can I have till the next council meeting to sort of get some thoughts in order, and then we'll start walking our way forward through this?
Yeah.
It's an excellent idea.
No, I see you thinking.
Aaron, Ann wanted to make a comment. Her name came up on the thing.
Let's see.
Both Ann DeConing and Catherine Milnquist are attending and they've raised their hand. Aaron, can you direct me, please?
Yeah, we, just for 1 second, we don't have Mr. Hunt on yet, do we?
Correct, not in attendance yet.
Dr. Hunt.
That's right, sorry. Can you text Dr. Hunt and let him know we're ready for him whenever he's able to join us?
I'd be happy.
I texted him a minute ago, but
yes,
I haven't heard back. Can you then also let Ann in to say something?
Yes.
And then after her, we'll let in Catherine.
Ann, I've unmuted you if you would like to speak.
Okay, yes, it's Ann DeConing, 50 East Orange Street. Just a quick question. Are you talking about lighting the dam falls or the real falls?
The request came to council about the big falls. Yeah, that's where the request came from. I don't know if we would want to do the other ones because there's houses much closer. So, you know, we'll obviously be very cognizant of neighborhood elements if we were to even look at that. But I think we should see what the community community feedback sounds like.
Right. And also you could consult with the Chagrin Documentary Film Festival with the company that lights for them, because they are lighting the dam falls again this year.
I love that they're called the Dam Falls, by the way. That's actually, I talked to Tom Psycho earlier. He is the president of Vincent Lighting. He grew up in Chagrin Falls. His parents live on East Washington. So I mean, first we need to see if there's any space for council to have these conversations and bring in a community conversation about it. They can do, you know, they can basically do renderings and show us what it could look like through photos and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think the opportunities exist. I don't want to get too far ahead. And, you know, I do think we need to be cognizant about RFPs too. So I
Sure.
agree though that he does a great job with the falls when he does it for the film fest.
And
Thank you, Aaron.
I do have one comment about that, is that if, I think that we should go through this looking at doing both. I mean, as we talk about it, and then obviously cost, or, cost and community input can make the decision on whether or not we want to do both. But I think it would be an interesting thing to look at doing it all at once versus, I would hate to see us do one and then regret not doing everything. So I think that maybe we might want to consider that.
I want to caution everybody, we don't need another Bellagio in Ohio.
Correct.
Okay.
We don't? Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Well, if you're sure, then. Thank you, Anne. Can we, Christy, can we bring in Catherine or Ms. Momquist, please?
Yes, Catherine, you've been unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Great. I'm here because I am the branch manager of the Chagrin Falls Branch Library. And like the schools, we are going for a levy request too. Ours is a issue 70, 1 mil continuing levy request. This levy will cost people less than $3 a month per $100,000 of home value, or $36 a year. And this will assist the library system in Cuyahoga County in making $18 million annually. But that's over 28 branches, which includes Chagrin Falls. We didn't have a levy in 12 years, which is really very unusual to have no levy support in 12 years. And because we've gone 12 years, and while the state has been cutting back, we've actually lost 14% of our property taxes in those 12 years. The funding that we will be able to get from this levy will continue to operate our 27 branches, well, 28 if you count Metro Health, and it preserves our evening and weekend hours and makes necessary safety and security updates. It allows us to continue with our collection development and also allow us to do critical services like after-school homework help and training for job seekers. And I have to say, if we don't get this levy that we haven't had for 12 years, we will have to cut open hours, most likely evenings and weekends. We will have to reduce virtual services. We will have to either defer or discontinue maintenance projects. We would probably have to reduce our collection budget, which means a lot of longer waiting for items because we just can't buy them. And we will have to scale back services for students, job seekers, the elderly, et cetera. So what I'm saying is, I'm hoping that the Chagrin Falls Village and its community will support this one small levy that we haven't had in 12 years. It's a continuous 1 mil, but it's going to cost for a $100,000 house, $36 a year. And I mean, that is really superb. Does anybody have any questions?
No, I think we have a fabulous library system. I appreciate you letting us know about your levy that you have on the ballot this year.
I know, but we're going against a very strong school levy too in Chagrin. And that's my concern, is they may have to pick one or the other. And I hate to be the person who says, pick one of us or the other, but I'm just hoping that you guys understand where we're coming from.
I did. Any questions for Ms. Momquist?
No.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. Do we have
Thank
any
you.
last questions on the waterfall before we move on? Nope. Okay, Christy, can we put Anne and Catherine back into the audience?
Done.
And then we have Mr. Hunt and Ms. Brudno. Oh, wait, then Bob just disappeared.
I invited Bob to be a panelist.
Oh, is that maybe what happened?
Where did he go?
There's Robert.
I'm here.
There he is.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing? Can you also promote Ms. Brudenell too? Perfect.
I can, thank you.
Okay, today we have Dr. Hunt joining us from Chagrin Falls Exempted Village School District located here in Chagrin Falls. And Ms. Brudenell, who is the new treasurer. You guys may take it away. And I believe you do have screen sharing abilities.
Okay, I think we will just kind of go off the top of our head, if that's okay. You're the fourth one in the row here, so we've got this down. We really appreciate the opportunity to address council, and I want to just, I guess, personally thank you for all your service. Stepping forward in public service says a lot about an individual, but during these difficult times with the pandemic, I can appreciate a little bit everything that you all are dealing with. So thank you for everything you're doing for our school and our community. I did catch the end of the library presentation, so I'll start with the school district operating levy will not increase the tax payment for our local residents. So I'll say that about 3 times, but I'll start there. So before we jump into the specifics of this levy, I think it's important whenever you talk about school funding to talk about House Bill 920 and why revenue is frozen for school districts in the state of Ohio. So I'm going to ask Mrs. Brudenell to give us a kind of an overview of that. I'll give a little bit of levy history, then talk specifically about what we have on the ballot for the first week of November. So Ashley, you want to take it away?
Absolutely. Thank you for having us. We appreciate the time, and I will echo what Dr. Hunt said, that we appreciate all of the work that goes into what you do. So House Bill 920, I know many people understand it, many people do not. House Bill 920 was passed in the 70s when inflation was very high. And as property values were going up, we didn't want, or they didn't want, taxes to continue to increase with property values. So House Bill 920 freezes a levy at the dollar amount at which it collects when it was passed. So what that means is when a levy is passed, the dollar amount is set. And then as time goes on, that dollar amount stays the same. It does not rise with property values. So the millage is reduced by the county. So that's where you get the voted mills versus the effective mills. And, anybody can look at their tax bill and see that HB 920 credit on there. And that's what that is. That's the effect of the reduced millage that we're collecting as a result of House Bill 920. So, as schools, it's kind of difficult for us to get everybody to understand that, because they think that, my house was just reevaluated and my taxes are going up because my value went up. And that's not necessarily true. What we collect stays the same as when it was passed.
So when you get flat revenue, obviously with any organization, over time expenses increase, and we do our best to look at year-over-year spending and monitor our growth the best that we possibly can. From a revenue standpoint, I guess the good and bad news is, the good news is we are totally reliant on ourselves. We take care of this on our end because our state foundation formula is about 4% of our revenue. So 80% of our revenue comes from our local taxpayers. And when we say local taxpayers, we are predominantly class 1 residential property that we're collecting upon. We don't have the industry of other communities. So that puts kind of a unique spin on the responsibility locally that we have for funding of our schools. Obviously, from an expenditure standpoint, this is a people business. So about 76% of our expenses are people. There's a lot of ways to kind of evaluate. 2 most popular are cost per pupil. So if you line up all the school districts from left to right, Geauga, Cuyahoga County, and then there's an average in the middle, we are right below the average in cost per pupil. If you do the same thing for teacher salary, line all the teacher salaries up for Geauga and Cuyahoga County, we're right below average. When you flip the coin and you think about return on investment, I think especially in the last 5 years, you see steady growth academically in our state report card. Last version that was released, we were number 3 in the state of Ohio and only one of 4 to receive an all A. So I think that we're making a tremendous amount of progress academically, and we're doing our best to control costs for our district. More specific to what's coming in November, just maybe to revisit things. In 2017, most of you, I'm sure, are aware we passed an 8.9 combined issue, 5.5 for operations and 3.4 for bond. That 3.4 primarily went to the renovation and new construction of Chagrin Falls Intermediate School. That project was finished on time and under budget, and we're able to use some of those expenses or some of those dollars in other places. So we essentially touched every other building in the district with that bond issue. We put new entrances at Gurney, new entrances at the high school, paving, roofing, things of that nature. At that time, we made a commitment that we would be off the ballot for 3 years, which would have brought us to the spring of last year. Last fall, we came together as a finance committee, Board of Education, and started analyzing, what our ask might be. We were kind of heading towards a 7.9 mil operating levy that would last for 4 or 5 years. And we were kind of going down that path when March hit and the world flipped upside down a little bit with COVID. And I think with that, we realized the state revenues were not going to hit their markers. We anticipated a cut. We were shocked when we found out the cut was actually coming from that fiscal year's budget. We anticipate that reduction at least holding forward into next year. So we're reducing our state funding. But we also realize that this is impacting the economic stability of our residents as well. And we needed to do everything we could to reduce the 7.9 mil ask. So over the course of the spring, we made recommendations to cut about 1.2 million from our budget over the next 2 years and to work to bring the ask down. So we were able to bring that ask down to 3.85 mils for operations. We're committing that will keep us off the ballot for at least 3 years. And that also that will not increase the taxes for our local residents. How and why haven't you done that before if it's possible? 1997, the district passed a bond issue which built Chagrin Falls Middle School. Those bonds will be paid off in December of this year. So the number of 3.85 was very specific because we knew that's what would be falling off from the bond payment. So we're essentially asking you to support a tax levy that would take that 3.85 that was going to debt, which is now paid off, and go over to our operations side so we can continue operating with consistent programming over the next 3 years. So the ballot language will say an additional tax. It's not going to let you know, hey, we have a bond falling off. So we're doing our best just to share the information so everyone can make the best decision that they personally can make. So I think that's about as quick as I could do it, but I'm happy to open it up and we're happy to answer any questions that you might have regarding this operating levy.
Yeah, I feel like you have that down pat already. Do we have any questions for Dr. Hunt and Ms. Bruno? We're a very talkative group. We've had a lovely long meeting. I think they've used up all their questions on the waterfall. Okay, well, if anyone has questions, if you don't have Dr. Hunt's email, let me know. I will certainly send you his email.
Yeah, and that's I guess all we'd ask. And as we kind of begin to share this information, if you specifically have questions, if something didn't make sense that we talked about tonight, or if someone tries to go into the weeds with you about school finance, please just direct them our way. We're happy to answer any questions that they might have.
Absolutely. Always available to talk.
Yeah, I appreciate everything you've done with your board meetings to start talking about this very clearly. Ms. Bruno, you are very good at explaining these school finances. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, well, any more questions? Nope. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. You guys should go home because you have another long school day tomorrow.
Thank you. We appreciate the time.
Thank you so much. Do we have any other items for miscellaneous tonight? Okay, not all at once, everybody. Seeing none, I am going to adjourn this meeting at 8:10. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.